And there was this period in April where Charlie kept insisting to me over and over again that he was going to die young. In fact, he told me that Turning Point USA was going to be the death of him. I'm going to show you some of those messages now, a particular set of messages that were written.
Erika Kirk went from grieving widow to CEO and chairman in just a few days. Instead of demanding answers like anyone would, she's out here talking about forgiveness and moving on. Meanwhile, crucial evidence is either missing or cleaned up, and anyone who dares to ask questions gets labeled as a conspiracy theorist or anti-Christian. That's a slick way to shut people down, isn't it? Now hold on. This next part is just bizarre. Within 834 milliseconds of the gunshot, less than 1 second, Mikey McCoy already had his phone up to his ear.
Hey, now there's been a lot of talk lately about the chief of staff for Charlie Kirk, his bizarre reaction when Charlie Kirk got shot. So what he did was within a millisecond, under a second, in 800 milliseconds, Charlie Kirk is shot. His chief of staff, before he even falls off the chair and hits the ground, turns around, puts his phone up to his ear, and walks away from Charlie Kirk to the point where he goes to the parking lot.
Oh, like you never did that.
And so here, so TPUSA has responded to this because everybody's saying this is weird. Everybody from me to Ian Carroll to James Lee to Candace Owens, most famously, is calling this out. And I just want to remind you. So here it is.
Right-hand guy. And he was at Charlie's right hand
talking
all day
about
long.
So there it is. So that's his right-hand man, the chief of staff, Mikey McCoy. The bullet rings out. Within a second, he turns around and walks away. Watch. There he goes. There he is with the phone to his ear the whole way. And so that's what people
right-hand guy.
So that's what people are talking about. In fact, he kept walking. There they are putting him in the SUV. There he is, still walking.
He walked off calm as ever. No panic, no ducking, just talking like he was ordering pizza. Everyone else was screaming and running, but he was chill like nothing happened. And here's the contradiction Candace can't ignore. Pastor Rob McCoy, Mikey's father, said, "Mikey called me immediately and said, 'Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck.' Something's not lining up here." But now Erika Kirk says, "I was on the phone with Mikey right after it happened." Wait, what? Both stories can't be true at the same time. So who's lying here? And why does this even matter so much? Because the official timeline keeps changing, and that's a huge red flag. If Mikey somehow knew it was a neck shot within seconds, how did he know that? Witnesses said there wasn't a drop of visible blood on him, yet Rob claimed Mikey was covered in it. None of this lines up. Even security experts have chimed in, saying that during a shooting, normal human reactions are total shock, either freezing, running, or trying to help. But Mikey, he didn't do any of that. He just made a calm phone call and strolled away like nothing happened. Candace's question hits hard. Who was Mikey really calling, and why was that his first instinct? Because seriously, if your friend gets shot right next to you, your first move wouldn't be to grab your phone and start chatting calmly. That's just not how real people react to trauma. Now, let's look at the timeline, because this part's wild. Charlie was killed on September 10th, and by September 19th or 21st, barely 2 weeks later, Erika's already on stage giving a memorial speech pushing for immediate forgiveness. Something's seriously off here. That's less than 10 days from widow to "I forgive the killer." Sure, everyone grieves in their own way, but Candace noticed something that many others did too. Erika's calmness feels practiced, not broken. She's out doing interviews, posing for photos, pushing projects, and her message never changes. Move forward, donate to Turning Point. This is what Charlie would want, but there's zero push for transparency. No real...
I believe that people within that company betrayed Charlie, okay? That's just what I believe right now, and I want to make sure that I have these facts entirely on my side before I tell you guys more.
Candace didn't hold back either. She said, "If my husband died like that, I'd tear the earth apart until I found out who did it and why." And honestly, that's what most people would do, right? But instead, what we're seeing is forgiveness without accountability, and as Candace says, that's not noble. It's manipulation. Real transparency means showing the truth, releasing the files, naming the names, and putting receipts on the table. But instead, we're getting polished statements about healing and moving forward. It all feels staged, like someone handed Erika a PR script, and she's sticking to it word for word. Here's where things shift from suspicious to straight up alarming. Within just 4 minutes of the shooting, a Turning Point staffer actually removed a surveillance camera. And not just any camera. When Candace asked why, the staffer said, "I did it to protect Erika from seeing traumatic footage." Sounds noble, right? But here's the catch. Candace already saw the footage on FaceTime. She said there wasn't even visible blood.
What I shared was a bigger deal than I had imagined by saying that I didn't see any blood, and that is a fact. I did not see any blood. In fact, the only blood that I did see at all, I'm talking about blood on the back, was on Charlie's hand, on Charlie's left hand. But what I didn't expect thereafter was for the Turning Point USA spokesperson, Andrew Colvett, to issue this statement as people were asking questions like, hey, how is that possible? How was there nothing in the back?
And why hasn't any of that footage been made public yet? TPUSA promised full transparency, but we're still waiting, and nothing's come out. That silence says a lot. Then comes the ballistics mess that has gun experts scratching their heads. The official story claims it was a high-powered rifle fired at close range, but experts say that kind of caliber should have gone right through a human body, no debate. Yet somehow the official line says Charlie's bones were so dense, like Man of Steel, that they stopped the bullet? Experts are calling total nonsense on that, saying, that makes no sense. This caliber would drop a before cutting off in disbelief. And what makes it even sketchier, the very spot where Charlie stood was repaved within 48 hours. Why the rush? Plus, there were underground tunnels and hidden access points right beneath that stage. Something about this whole setup feels way too clean. Could the shot have come from below instead of from a distance? It's a wild theory, but one worth digging into. The problem is, anyone who even asks that question gets instantly attacked. Now let's get into the silence inside Turning Point USA, because some people there have gone completely quiet, and that silence speaks volumes. First up, Tyler Bauer, TPUSA's COO. There are serious whispers about him getting too close to young male interns, plus he's tied to a sketchy orphanage project in Ukraine. And get this, he's the one who first introduced Charlie to Erika. Was that just coincidence or something planned out? Nobody's saying, but it sure raises eyebrows. Then we've got Mikey McCoy. He became chief of staff in January 2024, and insiders say he was already being groomed to take over before Charlie's death. His father, Rob McCoy, co-chairs the TPUSA Faith Division, and after Charlie's death, the power setup didn't change one bit. Doesn't that seem just a little too neat? And here's where things get even more tangled. There's this whole faith and connection angle. Tyler Bauer speaks fluent Russian, studied Soviet history, and worked with Ukrainian orphanages. Multiple TPUSA insiders are Mormon or linked.
I will say, if you are a rat on a ship, you should probably flee now. I recommend it.
A faith contributor got hit with fraud and embezzlement accusations, allegedly using ministry funds for his own lifestyle. And right after that, donor pressure started heating up. When Tucker Carlson gave a speech at a TPUSA event that was critical of Israel, major donors freaked out. Word is, Charlie got whisked away to the Hamptons for what people are now calling an intervention about his views on Israel. And here's where it gets even crazier. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu personally called Charlie, invited him to Israel, and dangled huge funding offers. But Charlie turned it down, reportedly saying, "I don't know where this money is coming from." 2 weeks later, he was dead. Coincidence? Maybe. But that's one scary coincidence. Now let's talk about the FBI's handling of this mess, because it's full of contradictions. First, they claimed Tyler Robinson turned himself in and confessed. Later, they switched it up, saying Robinson refuses to cooperate and won't answer a single question. Which version is real? And those text messages they released, they look totally staged. One supposedly said, "Remember, it was only me. Don't look for anyone else." Who even texts like that? It reads like a bad script. Then they claimed the bullet had an engraved message, something any gun expert will tell you is physically impossible for that caliber. After massive online pressure, Kash Patel pushed the FBI to make a statement. They said they were checking hand gestures, plane transponders, and bullet angles, but gave zero solid evidence. No clarity, no transparency, just smoke and mirrors. Candace clapped back hard, saying, "You're playing defense because you never played offense." Meanwhile, the mainstream media is busy labeling her a conspiracy theorist. Yet not one of them is explaining the obvious contradictions in this story. Anyone daring to question the official version gets called unchristian or disrespectful, especially by loud Christian Zionist influencers who are shutting down conversations left and right.
And so I wanted to say to you guys, to the people that betrayed Charlie, I would recommend that you come clean, okay? I would recommend that you come clean, because Charlie said some other things. And I look at these things now and I think, wow, it's almost prophetic, right? It's almost prophecy. And I can tell you that this is a story that will have a happy ending, a tragedy that will have a happy ending. The world is going to learn the truth about this. They are.
It's almost like they've got something to protect. Now here's the kicker. Erika recently called for cameras in the courtroom, claiming she wants transparency and has nothing to hide. But the irony? She still hasn't released TPUSA's own footage or internal documents. Critics are calling it a clever PR move, looking open without actually being open. And honestly, that fits everything else we've seen so far. But this story isn't just about one man's death, it's way bigger. We're talking about power, money, faith networks, and possible foreign influence all tangled together. There's a chilling pattern here. Strange, random shootings happening around military or intelligence-linked figures. Remember Michael Hastings? He exposed a top U.S. general and then mysteriously died in a fiery car crash. Too many coincidences start to look like patterns. Candace's digging has uncovered something dark. Faith infiltration and shady Calvary Chapel connections tied to multiple scandals. Whatever's going on here isn't random. It's part of a much deeper web that's finally starting to unravel. Lou Taylor, yes, that Lou Taylor, the same woman tied to Britney Spears' conservatorship, is linked to Calvary Chapel. And that's not all. There's a strong Mormon and LDS presence popping up in intelligence recruitment circles, and Christian Zionism seems to be steering political messaging behind the scenes. Mega churches are moving cash like crazy. And remember Joel Osteen's Money in the Wall scandal? Yeah, that kind of energy. Charlie's final words still haunt everyone who's seen them. Back in 2018, he texted Candace,